Introducing Fight Picks with the Pros, brought to you by FanDuel.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Fight Picks with the Pros. I'm Garrett, the producer behind MMA Surge. We're going to review 6 fights on the upcoming UFC 259 card featuring Jan Behovic and Izzy Adesanya in the main event. As always, I'm joined by my main man, Season 18 Ultimate Fighter champ, Chris Holds It Down Holdsworth. Stick around to the end of the show to see our picks for the main events. Let's go. All right, first up, we've got Dominic the Dominator Cruz coming in as a plus 122 underdog versus Casey Kennedy, who's the minus 150 favorite. So this is the first time Dominic is coming in as an underdog in a long time. He's a veteran in the game. We all know about Dominic. And the interesting thing about this, he's always been a main event bantamweight, huge run as a champ, going all the way back to the WEC days. And he's always had these really notable fights. He's now not even on the main card. He's headlining the prelims. So first, let's get into Dom. He's coming off a loss against Cody Garbrandt, followed by Henry Cejudo. And so for the first time in his career, he's kind of on a downslope. Not to say you couldn't have a resurgence, but what do you think about where Dominic's at in his career?
Yeah, he can definitely have a resurgence. You know, he stays in the gym. He's always training, and he's doing his commentating stuff, which forces you to do your homework and learn about other fighters and just keep evolving as a mixed martial artist. So you can never count Dom out. He's a former champion. He's fought nothing but the best guys in the division always, and he's super resilient. And he always brings that unorthodox style to the table that's like really hard to figure out. And some people can't figure it out. Yeah. Like a few people have been able to, but a lot of people haven't been able to. So it's going to be an interesting fight to see what he's been doing differently since these previous losses he's encountered. And what kind of game he's going to play versus Casey, who brings a lot to the table as well. He's got a really good grappling game and has got power in his hands.
Yeah, Cody's, Dominic, I was thinking Cody, his fight against Cody made me think back to, he's going to be mixing it up with the footwork, getting in and out. He's the master of the feints. I've never seen anyone in the bantamweight division have these epic feints like Dominic does. He always has his opponent off balance as kind of part of his game. Then he sneaks in those awkward left hooks and jabs, and he's always just out of range to miss. He's got this different movement about him, right? So we'll see if he's going to be able to pull this off against Casey Kennedy, who's no slump. He's 16-2. Obviously, the odds makers are picking him as the favorite. That's going to show you a lot. That's where the money is going on Casey. Yeah. So that's why the odds are showing that a minus 150 favorite. Not too big of a favorite, so pretty even fight. Casey's on a 3-fight win streak. He's 16-2. 2 knockouts, 5 subs, and Dominic Cruz isn't the ultimate finisher as well. So this really is going to be a mind game. Who's going to be able to touch each other more? I can see Casey Kennedy's kind of his game plan going into this and make it a grappling match. Get on the inside with Dom. Don't let him use his footwork and spin him around. How do you see this fight playing out? What do you think Casey Kennedy's game plan is going to be coming into it?
Yeah, I think he's going to have to try to mix it up. And, if I'm not mistaken, Casey Kennedy is a pretty small bantamweight. Yeah. And Dominic's a big bantamweight. So I think Dominic's going to try to use his footwork and his outside range to kind of pick Casey apart and try to force Casey to try to shoot and then counter wrestle. Like Dom's a great counter wrestler. Yeah. So he's going to be able to counter wrestle Casey and, win these. I think he's going to be able to win those wrestling exchanges and end up on top. Or, just win the outside game and pick Casey apart and win a decision.
Okay. So you're thinking Dominic by decision?
I'm thinking Dom by decision. Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on this one. Casey Kennedy not being a huge finisher, and he likes to stay on the outside a lot, mix it up with grappling. Dom's the same way. He's going to dance around you with that footwork. He's going to stay on the inside, get on the outside, mix it up with the jabs. At the end of the day, Dom gets a lot of decision wins as well. They call him the Dominator. He's had a lot of wins where he wins all 3 rounds, all 5 rounds, and dominates the fight. Doesn't get a lot of finishes. So I'm going to go with Dominic Cruz by decision win is going to be my official fight pick. All right, let's move on to the next bout. We got Song, the Kung Fu Monkey, at the minus 150 favorite against Kyler Matrix Phillips, coming as the plus 122 underdog. So this is an interesting fight because we have Song Yadong is a fighter here at Team Alpha Male. Matter of fact, he's sparring right outside this podcast studio as we speak. He's definitely a really great up-and-coming fighter. A lot of power in his hands. He looks like he's in great shape. He's going through a great training camp. Other side, we got Kyler Phillips, who's a great fighter in his own right. 8-1, 5 TKOs, 1 sub. Tell me a little bit, Chris, what do you think about Song and his game and what you see of him around the gym?
Yeah, Song's awesome. He's got a great, well-rounded game, and he brings that athletic explosiveness to the table. Like, he can knock you out with his punches, his kicks, his elbows, and his grappling has gotten so much better over the time he's been here with the team. Yeah. Not only his jiu-jitsu, but his wrestling. Like, the guy's hard to tap. Like, when he stays moving and he's in shape, like he's hard to mess with. So. We've been working on some things, for this next fight. Kyler is a great fighter on his own. Yeah. He's got a great jiu-jitsu game, and he's been around the jiu-jitsu game for a while, and he's got a bunch of different submissions he can hit from different positions, which is always going to be tricky. Like, guys that are good off the back, they're good on top, they're good in transitions, and he's got a good striking game too. Coming with that karate background and. The Matrix, so he's got like that, the kind of like the flashy, he's athletic and explosive too, so I can see him, trying to use that athletic kind of jumpy striking style. But, are we making our picks yet, or?
Yeah, we'll get into it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Song has got on a 9-fight win streak. He had a controversial fight, and he also had a draw, but still, he's coming out on top every fight. Kyler's coming off a 3-fight win streak. They both have great records. Let's get into it. Let's get into our official picks. How do you see the fight playing out, and who's going to be your official pick to get the win?
Yeah, I think Song is going to do enough to either get a good left hook or right hand and wobble Kyler, maybe get a ground and pound finish, or I can see Song win a decision. I don't think Kyler's wrestling is going to be good enough to take Song down and keep him down. I think his jiu-jitsu is good, but from just training with Song, I know what he can do and what he can stay out of if he's in good shape, and he's in great shape. So I'm gonna go Song by decision.
Okay, I'm going with I want to get a pick against you here, Chris, but yeah. I want Song as well. Of course, he's the Team Alpha Male guy coming off a great win streak. I just walked past him. He's in phenomenal shape. I'm thinking Song by finish. I'm going to call a second round TKO finish for Song Yadong.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, but I won the decision.
All right, let's jump on to the next fight. We've got Joseph Benavidez coming in as a plus 112 underdog versus Askar Bullet Askarov. Am I saying that right?
Askar Askarov. Yep,
Askarov.
Sounds good to me.
It's coming as a minus 138 favorite coming in this fight. So this definitely is an intriguing matchup. It's the dangerous grappler versus Benavidez, who has that speed and has that sneaky left-hand power. Joseph has been at the top of the game fighting these top guys. Figueiredo, 2 fights, fought against Demetrius Johnson twice, against Dominic Cruz twice, Sergio Pettis. Those are his only losses, are against these top-ranked guys. So now after really going for the strap a couple times in a row, a lot of people picked him to win it. But it really was the coming out party for Davison Figueiredo. He had some nasty finishes, unfortunately, against Joseph. The other side, you got Askar, who's 12-0. He has 1 draw, 3 TKOs, 7 subs. So really a great grappler, great finisher in the grappling game. What do you think Joseph's game plan coming in this fight is? Coming off some tough losses against top opponents, now to try to build himself back up. He wants to go for that strap again. He's not giving up. What are your thoughts on Joseph coming into this fight?
Man, I've always been a huge friend, a huge fan of Joseph. Yeah. We go back to when I came to the team. He opened up with open arms and brought me in as a friend. We became good friends, and he's always fighting the best guys. Like, look at after 2 losses, 2 finishes. He's fighting this Askar guy who's undefeated, who's got wins over Elliott, Pantoja. A draw with Moreno, so it's like those are all 3 top flyweights, and as you can see, Moreno's fighting Figueiredo again because that went to a draw.
That was epic. Yeah.
So he never backs down from the challenge, and that's what I love about Joe. He's always willing to fight the best guy, and he's really well rounded. But coming off these 2 losses, man, I would have thought they would give him somebody a little bit like not as good, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe
build him back up.
Yeah, build him back up. Get a win under his belt. But he said no, not at all. And like, who knows what's gonna happen? Like, if he gets a big win, like, does he get another title shot? Like, after getting 2 chances, like,
I think that was probably the opportunity.
Yeah.
I know this gets offered to some fighters. Hey, you can fight this guy, and then we'll look at another opponent for you after that. Or if you fight this guy and get a win, then we'll talk about fighting for the strap.
Yeah.
I know a lot of fighters have that option. Hey, here's, Sean Shelby says, here's a matchup we like. Or if you want to fight one of this top guys, then and I know Joseph's getting a little older. He's still, in his prime. I know he wants another shot at that strap. So that's why he's taking this hard fight, because he wants to get a big win and be right up there in contention after this Figueiredo-Moreno fight, that he can be right up there in the mix.
Yeah, I hope he's fully healed after those knockouts and finishes, because I know the brain stuff is nothing to deal with. We'll see it. We'll see if Askar has enough to do to get the win. But I'm always gonna bet on my boy Joe. I think he'll get the decision win. That's 3 decisions so far I picked. But like, these are all like super close fights and really good matchups. So it's hard to finish guys sometimes.
No, it definitely is. I'm also going with Joseph Benavidez. We're on the same page again here. I'm pulling for him to come back and get in the mix. I want to see him get another shot. Who knows how much longer he has in his career, another year, 2 years. I know he's getting up there a little bit in age. I want to see that road to the strap come again. I think it would be such an epic way for him to round off his career, even if that's 18 months from now, 2 years from now. So if I had to give my official fight pick for this fight, I'm going to go Joseph Benavidez. I'm going to say it's going to be by 3rd round submission. Joseph has 9 subs on his record. I think he's going to get crafty. I think Askar is going to feel comfortable taking him to the ground and mixing up with Joseph, and I think he might underestimate him a little bit. Joseph has no joke. He's no joke on the ground as well. And I think he's going to slip up and get that Team Alpha Male rear naked choke. I know he's training
rear naked or guillotine. If he gets a submission, it's going to be a guillotine. I call it.
Okay, I'll go guillotine. 3rd round guillotine by Benavidez for the win.
Let's go.
All right, moving on. Now we're moving on to the championship bouts. 3 championship bouts on this card, so it's pretty unheard of. This is a wild way to end this final card. So now we got, next matchup is Peter Yan coming in as the -110 favorite. It's actually even money. They're both -110 as of now. We'll see where the money goes. Versus Aljamain Funkmaster Sterling. So this is a bantamweight matchup. And Chris, I know you're extremely familiar with both these guys, both future possible matchups for Cody Garbrandt, who I know you corner. So really the tale of this fight, you got the great striker in Peter Yan, who has an amazing takedown defense and always comes in phenomenal shape. And on the other side, you got Aljamain Sterling, who's one of the top wrestlers in the bantamweight division. Also has some power of his own, great grappling and ground game. He says he's going to take down Peter Yan over and over and over. Peter Yan saying, "Hey, you ain't taking me down. I'm gonna be striking and I'm gonna knock you out." So this is a wild fight. There's been a lot of trash talk leading up to this fight. It seems like for months and months and months. So first, break down Peter Yan for me. What do you think about his game?
Man, as you can see, the fight with Jose Aldo is, he not only has good striking, but he can take you down and GMP you and ground and pound and stay out of the submissions. A lot of times guys get kind of crazy with the ground and pound and they get caught and stuff. But man, I was really impressed with how he handled that Jose Aldo fight, and his ability to change stances and have power from both stances. Use the kicks, use the hands to set up the kicks, and then be able to stop the takedowns and win those grappling exchanges and end up on top. And I felt like he has really good ground and pound. Like, he's able just to balance himself and find those shots either from on top or even when guys are in turtle. Like, he can find those like explosive power shots that can finish guys. So it's gonna be interesting to see if Aljamain's gonna be able to take him down.
Yeah,
like.
That's huge.
Yeah, I know Aljamain was a good college wrestler. He's got a lot of experience doing that, and training with the Sarah Longo fight team. Like, Sarah's no joke on the ground, and as you saw him get that quick finish over Sandhagen, like, his ground game is top level.
That was epic.
So I think Aljamain is going to start feeling the heat a little bit on Yan, and then he's going to start forcing the takedowns. I would like to see a good striking exchange, and then Aljamain start setting up these takedowns when Jan gets a little bit comfortable and starts overcommitting on some of the strikes. And I think that's going to be the best time for Aljamain to get these takedowns. And I do think Aljamain will win these grappling exchanges just because he's got the better wrestling on paper per se, and I believe in his jiu-jitsu training as well.
Yeah, no, I think those are all great points. And Peter Yan, he knows he has the disadvantage when it comes to wrestling. He's a great wrestler in his own right, but Aljamain Sterling, he's just on a different level. And Peter Yan went to the Russian Olympic wrestling team and started training with them to get his wrestling up on a bigger level. So that shows you how committed he is. He's doing everything he can. A lot of rumors was he pushed the fight originally booked for UFC 256 because he wanted to button up his wrestling game. That's not the reason he gave, but that's what Aljamain Sterling's saying. Of course, they're trash talk going back and forth. So that's going to be interesting. Peter Yan, he has great endurance as well. He always seems so calm in there. Like he's barely breathing. And he's got, like you said, he switches from the southpaw to orthodox stance. And he switches it up so you can't get down his timing or his stance. And so that's going to be hard for Aljamain Sterling. He's going to be looking at that lead leg, but it's going to be switching up the whole time. I'm sure they're studying each other like crazy. So ultimately, it's the grappler wrestler bout versus the stand-up striker. How do you see this fight playing out at the end of the day?
I'm excited to see if Aljamain is going to have a different style or game plan, because now I feel like he's doing a lot of his training in Vegas. Like, because I know, New York and New Jersey, where he was at before, they had the really big no on the whole training thing, and because all the pandemic stuff going on. So I think he's been in Vegas for a while now, training with the Extreme Couture guys and working with them. So let's see if he's got some new tools in his bag. I don't see Aljamain finishing him. I don't see an Aljamain finishing Peter, but I can see Peter finishing Aljamain. So, man, if I'm gonna put my money, I'm gonna go with Jan. I'm gonna go with Jan. I think he'll get the 4th round TKO. I think he's gonna get Aljamain a little tired with all the grappling exchanges and the striking, and he's gonna start landing some shots on the ground.
Okay, that's a good call. For my official fight pick for this matchup, I'm gonna go with Aljamain Sterling on this one. I think it's gonna be a back and forth, a lot of exchanges. I think Aljamain is gonna get the takedown and be able to hold Jan down in certain rounds and get those start racking up rounds and winning the rounds. I think he's gonna get pieced up a little bit on the feet to where he knows he's got to turn this into a grappling match and a wrestling match, and someone has to be able to control Jan. Maybe he won't be able to, but I'm going to predict that he will be able to. He'll rack up these rounds, and he's going to get the decision win over Peter Yan. So I'm going Aljamain Sterling by decision. We'll see. All right, moving on to the second championship bout on this fight card, UFC 259. We've got Amanda, the Lioness Nunez, coming in as the minus 1,200 favorite versus Megan Anderson, who comes in as the plus 680 underdog. The biggest favorite on this card, the biggest favorite I've seen in a long time. You don't see these type of numbers often. She is considered the best women's fighter in MMA history, Amanda Nunez.
For sure.
Rightfully so. She's been absolutely dominating all of her opponents. 8 consecutive title fight wins. She's 20-4. And since she won the title and beat Ronda Rousey, she took this turn, beat Holly Holm, then beat Ronda Rousey. She just keeps leveling up.
Yeah.
I just feel like no one could stand and strike with her. It's when they stand and strike, she's going to piece you up and knock you out. It's this ridiculous talent she has in her striking game, has just gotten better and better and better. On the other side, you got to give some credit to Megan Anderson for taking this fight. She's really long, lanky. Maybe that's going to have to do something with it. She has the reach advantage. She's 11-4, 6 TKOs, 3 subs. She's 3-2 in her last 5 fights. They've been searching for someone that could contend with Amanda Nunez. It's kind of like they're running out of contenders.
Sounds like it.
Megan Anderson called the fight. She wanted it. She said, "Give me that fight." So kudos to her for going up and taking this fight. It's going to be a long road for her, real big underdog. But who knows what could happen. So We know Nunez is a huge favorite in this fight. So, Chris, from your point of view, let's say you were in Megan Anderson's corner and you had to do anything you could to help her get this win. What would be your game plan as a cornerman to help Megan Anderson negate this epic stand-up game and somehow get a win over Amanda Nunez?
Yeah, only thing I think she'd be able to do is try to use her jabs and her straight punches to keep the range and not let Amanda like land those big hooks or big overhands, and then start timing those knees and uppercuts down the middle if Amanda tries to get the takedown. I don't see, I see Amanda like getting the knockout finish. I think she's gonna get past that range and end up start clipping Megan. And I think it's going to be a pretty quick finish. If not the first, the second round by KO. Like she's going to land like an overhand right or a left hook and finish her on the ground.
But stay in Megan's corner. Stay in Megan's corner. Your corner, Megan. You want Megan to get the win. So
yeah,
that'll be
I said, we're going to use the jab.
We're
going to stay on the outside, use the jab, and start using that jab to set up that straight right hand down the middle. And keep a lower stance just in case she tries to get the takedown after she starts getting peppered with the boxing, and start timing those rear uppercuts or those rear knees to catch her coming in.
Okay, so if you do see Megan Anderson getting this fairy tale win to become the champ, do you think it's going to be by her squeaking out, winning 3 out of 5 rounds and getting the decision win? Do you think she can figure out the dangerous thing is you would think Amanda's such a good striker, take her to the ground, but she's also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and she's nasty
really
on the ground. That was originally her strength. I remember her coming up. I was like, don't go to the ground with Nunez. And then her striking game just leveled up so much. So it's really pick your poison with her. But let's say in a fairy tale world, if Megan Anderson gets this win, become champ, what would be your prediction for Megan to get the win?
Yeah, it's going to be by some type of finish, like some type of crazy like
she gets caught
knee, some type of crazy like punch and wobbles Amanda or knee or something big. I don't see her winning a decision. I just think Amanda's too well rounded. If it's not going her way on the feet, she's smart enough to get the takedown and do a lot of damage on the ground as well. So I think the only chance Megan has is catching her with something on the way in or in that range.
Yeah. So your official fight pick is Amanda Nunez by second round KO. I'm going to go with Amanda Nunez as well. How could you not? How could you not in this fight? She's such a favorite. She's so on top of her game. She knows she's fighting to be the greatest ever, not only to be champ, but to be the greatest women's MMA martial artist of all time. She's on that path. She says she might have a few fights left and then retire. Dana White saying, why? Please, of course, he wants his cash cows to stay in the UFC. And she's so dominant. She's running out of opponents. Cyborg was the big hype for a long time, and we saw what happened there. She KO'd Chris Cyborg. That was the big, who's the best woman fighter of all time? Well, we figured out that matchup when that happened. I'm going to Amanda Nunez. I think Megan Anderson is going to come in with a good game plan. She's going to use her reach and try to keep Amanda away. I'm going to say it goes a little longer. You're saying second round KO. I think it's going to be a third round TKO for Amanda Nunez, and that's my official fight pick.
It's time for the main fight pick of the evening.
All right, we've got in the main event of this triple header championship bout on UFC 259, we've got Jan Behovic coming in as a plus 198 underdog against Izzy Stylebender Adesanya coming in as a minus 250 favorite. So this is a fight that I'm most excited for. There's a size difference between Jan and Izzy Adesanya. He's coming up from middleweight to fight at that light heavyweight bout, moving up from a 185 weight class to a 205 weight class. Now we know Izzy's letting his natural body weight take way, which he sits at about 205 to 210. So he's going to cut minimal, if any, weight at all for this fight. And then we know Jan does cut for this matchup. So he's going to be coming in probably around 220 and have a slight weight advantage coming into this fight. But Izzy and his coaches said they're not worried about weight. They're prepping for the opponent, not for the weight class. And I get their mentality coming into that fight. But that's the one thing I can see where Jan is going to have a little bit of advantage in the fight. The talent is going to go on Izzy's side. Mm-hmm. Jan can have a little bit of weight on him, and his confidence is at an all-time high. So let's break down both these fighters. We'll start with Jan Blachowicz, the light heavyweight champ. What do you think about Jan's game, the Polish power?
Exactly, the power. That's what I think about his game. He can finish you with those big strikes from anywhere. And you know, he's finished a lot of top guys. That Reyes fight, he made Reyes look like a chump.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
was wild.
and then Reyes, you know what he was able to do with John Jones, you know, shows how good he was. So it just shows you how good Blachowicz is.
Yeah.
I think he can finish you with his hands anywhere, and you know he's got a pretty good takedown, you know, defense. You know, as far as I think he's like what 52% or something like that. Reading stats here, and he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, so he's not afraid to go to the ground, and he can finish people from there as well. And this is gonna be his first title defense. So, you know, Izzy's striking game, or I feel like he's been working on his boxing a lot since the Calvin fight.
Yeah.
I feel like his feints and his boxing kind of got better, and then you know you can tell in his fights now that he's being a little bit smarter and using his feints and his boxing a little bit more. But it's gonna be a tough fight. You know, fighting a tougher champion. I'm sorry, a bigger champion in Blachowicz. It's gonna be interesting to see how Izzy's gonna get inside and use his striking.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild fight. It's champion versus champion. We all know the implications of this fight. If Izzy gets the win, he might even leapfrog right up to heavyweight to chase John Jones for that epic matchup. Now, John Jones has to get a fight in as well. Or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he goes right to the Izzy fight. I know Dana White says if he can have his dream matchup to sell out a stadium with over 60,000 seats once we're over this pandemic to kind of get back in the mix, would be a John Jones versus Izzy Adesanya. And I know they're going to stack that undercard as well. Would be an absolutely incredible card. But that's a fight a lot of people want to see. You got to get past Jan Blachowicz to make that happen. I mean, this guy could be losing the fight for all 4 rounds. And in that 5th round, that massive left hook can land. And it could be lights out just like that. And Izzy has shown that he can get hit. He can get hit before the Kelvin Gastelum fight. You know, he took quite a bit of shots. He's worked on his game since then. And like you said, it always seems like Izzy is setting something up. Yeah. He's going for a low kick, and he has such a high fight IQ. He's throwing these feints. He's not just randomly throwing feints and throwing punches. He's always setting up that next move that's, you know, 5 strikes from now or 10 strikes from now. He's trying to trap you. He's gonna trap you to where you're gonna lower your arms when he's throwing that kick, and then it's really gonna be a left hook that's coming, and it's wide open. But Jan on the other side, he might get in there and make it a brawl. He has the more power coming in this fight. He's a nasty guy, even though Izzy has 15 TKOs, Jan has 8. Jan is fighting these bigger guys. So we'll see what happens and how Izzy takes the power or how much he gets hit. At the end of the day, let's hear, you know, what do you think both their game plans are going to be coming into the fight? And then ultimately, let's get your official fight pick on this.
Yeah, I think Jan's going to try to grapple Izzy a little bit and use his size. That's at least what I would do. Or if I was a coach, I'd be like, hey, let's try to close the distance as fast as possible and get inside and try to tire Izzy out, put him against the cage, or just use our grappling. You know, him coming, you know, with the BJJ black belt. I know Izzy's no slouch on the ground. I think he just got his purple belt from Andre Galval. Nice. But, you know, if I was the bigger fighter and I knew I had a black belt and this guy was a purple belt, I'm definitely going to try to use my grappling and win those exchanges. But on the other side of things, I think Izzy is going to use his footwork and agility and just being the faster fighter. And I think he's going to stay on the outside and really use his feints and to set everything up. And like you were talking about before, like him being able to set up 5 strikes ahead of time, that's hundreds of kickboxing fights.
Yep.
You know, the experience and everything combined, that's why he can do that at that level. Like not a lot of people can do that. So it's always like it's like art watching him fight. So my prediction, I feel like Izzy is going to be able to finish on. I think he's going to be able to dance around and use his footwork to stop the takedowns. 86% takedown defense.
That's cool.
You know, Jan's got to make it dirty. Like he's got to brawl Izzy. This can't be a pretty fight for Jan. He can't just try to stay on the outside and just expect him to catch Izzy with something. I think he's got to come forward and really make it a gritty fight to have a chance. But I think Izzy's ready for that, and he's going to use his footwork and his motion. And I think he's going to end up finding his shot probably in like the 3rd round. I think I think it's going to be like a laser right hand right down the middle.
Laser right hand gets the finish. So you're saying Izzy gets the finish?
Yeah,
in the
Izzy's
3rd?
going to get the finish in the 3rd.
Okay, interesting. I thought you might go with Izzy. 5-round fight. God, we've been agreeing on a lot of fights. I want to go against you. Of course, I'm a huge Izzy Adesanya fan. But for my official fight pick, I'm going to mix it up a little bit just to go against Chris on this fight pick. I'm going to go Jan Behovic. I think he's going to get in there and make it nasty. Like Chris said, if he lets Izzy think too much and set up his strikes and lets him stay out of range and kind of piece him up, I think it's going to be a long night for Jan. If he gets in there and knows that he's going to risk taking a big shot, taking a big kick or punch to get on the inside, but then once he's there, he can throw those big Polish power bombs, can make a difference in the fight. So I'm going to say it goes long. I'm going to say a 4th round KO by Jan Behovic to get the win over Izzy and to ruin all the plans for Izzy leapfrogging up to that heavyweight division. I am leaning towards Izzy. I'm a huge fan of Izzy, but to go against Chris on this one, I'm going to predict a late round finish. I'm going to go with that 4th round. Jan gets the win.
How dare you
Izzy.
go against me?
Crazy. All right, so thanks for watching, guys. This is Fight Picks with the Pros, brought to you by FanDuel. Please like and subscribe to this channel. Look out for our next videos, and we'll see you next time.